We have breaking news out of college football where Georgia quarterback Carson Beck is entering the transfer portal. That has been confirmed by our Matt Zenitz. Beck has spent the past 5 years in Athens, serving as the Bulldogs starting quarterback in each of the past 2 seasons. Now this year, he threw for 28 touchdowns and an SEC leading 12 interceptions before suffering a season-ending elbow injury in the SEC title game and missing that Sugar Bowl loss to Notre Dame. Now Beck, if you remember, declared for the NFL draft in late December. Now, had he decided to go that route, he was considered the number 5 quarterback, according to the CBS Sports prospect rankings. Here to join us for this breaking news is 24/7 Sports' Chris Hummer. Chris, always great to see you. Carson Beck is just another twist and turn in his career so far, declaring for the draft not too long ago, and now he's saying he's hopping into the transfer portal. What more can you tell us about how all this went down with Carson Beck?
Well, this is something we'd kind of been watching behind the scenes the last week or so. You have to sign with an agent officially to be locked into the draft, and that had not happened up to this point for Carson Beck. And as long as that hadn't happened yet, college teams were free to, maybe tamper a little bit on the back end. And I think that's exactly what happened in this circumstance. College quarterbacks, as we've talked about before on HQ, are making, in some cases, $4 million going into 2025. Like, the market is there. I don't know exactly what a day 2 draft pick gets in the NFL, but I would imagine the college salary is very competitive. And this is a similar situation to what we saw 1 year ago with Cam Ward. He originally declared for the draft and ultimately a couple weeks later, after doing so, backed out and decided to return to college and attend Miami. That worked out amazing for him. He went from a likely day 3 draft pick to being maybe QB1 in the 2025 NFL draft, and it seems like that's the path Carson Beck is looking to take.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that, because to your point, it seems like he's following in the footsteps of Cam Ward, because Cam Ward, we just talked about with Ryan Wilson, went from potentially a day 3 guy to now being in the conversation for the number 1 overall pick. Is Miami, obviously the rumors are already swirling and this news has been up for not even an hour, but is Miami a natural fit? What other programs come to mind for you? Our producer has been throwing out UNC potentially with Bill Belichick. What are you hearing, or what seems like a good fit for Carson Beck? Is it Miami, or are there others that come to mind?
Yeah, there aren't a ton of programs, at least upper level programs, looking for quarterbacks at this point. Most of those spots are filled. So it's pretty easy to play connect the dots. Of course, like, UNC would make some sense for Carson Beck if Bill Belichick wanted to go that direction. They attacked John Mateer in the portal very aggressively. I could see them making a run at Carson Beck again, but Miami is the natural fit here. I'd probably turn them a very early favorite in this process, even though Carson Beck hasn't stepped in the portal. Miami has aggressively pursued quarterback transfer options behind the scenes the last couple weeks, really since their bowl game, when Emory Williams had a up and down effort for the Hurricanes. And Miami has largely struck out to this point. I can think of several guys they were hoping would go in that ultimately did not. But Carson Beck represents an opportunity for Miami to rectify their quarterback room. We've seen how aggressive they can be in terms of getting a player to return to school, like we saw last year with Cam Ward. And I would not at all be shocked to see Miami do that again with Carson Beck in this situation.
So if that does happen, that comes to fruition, and Carson Beck goes the Cam Ward route and goes to Miami, what do you need to see from him there? And how far does he necessarily need to take Miami for him to, be considered a day 1, day 2 guy? Oh, we have a cat on the broadcast. My absolute favorite thing ever. But Chris, back on track. Carson Beck, yeah, what do you need to see from him moving forward to feel like this was the right decision for him?
Yeah, my cat's a big Carson Beck fan. I apologize.
Hey, but we'll take it.
Carson, to make this the right decision, needs to do what we expected him to going into this year, which is emerge as a day 1 draft pick. He was QB1 for a lot of people going into the year. Obviously, he's lost that status in a really weak draft class, frankly. This is, of all draft classes as quarterbacks come out, this is the one. There's no sure thing at the top, including Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. But Carson Beck, due to a combination of turnovers and injuries, really didn't have that happen for him at Georgia this year. Now it seems like both sides are at least moving on, and he needs to go wherever he goes, if that's Miami, and return to form. Miami gives him that opportunity, you would think. They have one of the best offensive lines in college football and have shown the ability to put skill pieces around quarterbacks. So if he goes there, he needs to do what Cam Ward did this season, throw for a lot of yards and fix your draft stock.
Yeah, and don't turn the ball over as much. Chris, wait, what is your cat's name, by the way?
Marlin, like the fish.
Okay, Marlin. Send Marlin our regards, Chris. We certainly appreciate it. Joining us for this breaking news here on HQ, Carson Beck saying he's hitting the transfer portal.